postal worker.
Fantastic. Are you ready to play?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay, Johnny. Tell him about Hugo.
These top-of-the-line hearing aids from Eargo are straight out of the future. They're rechargeable and virtually invisible in your ears.
Okay, Sal, how much do you think they cost?
Oh, gee, I don't know. $5,000?
Well, actually, for you, they don't cost anything.
Holy heck.
That's because federal employees, retirees, and their families can get these life-changing hearing aids at no cost.
Holy heck.
And you don't need to visit a doctor to get them. They ship right to your home and come with lifetime remote support. Convenient, right?
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Heck yeah.
Eargo 5 is here, our latest device that allows you to personalize your hearing experience. Get yours today. And if you're an active or retired federal employee, you may qualify to get Eargo at no cost to you.
Qnol is the #1 cardiologist recommended form of CoQ10. Qnol has 3 times better absorption than regular CoQ10. The brand I trust is Qnol.
For effective relief from arthritis pain, try Australian Dream Arthritis Pain Relief Cream. With the FDA-approved active ingredient, histamine dihydrochloride, it penetrates deep into your painful muscles and joints, and it's backed by a 100% money-back guarantee.
College wasn't built for me.
I didn't care if I had to work a double shift, or if my kid had a fever. Deadline's a deadline.
I want to set the deadlines.
I'm going to take tests when I'm...
Greatest Yankee of them all was viewed by thousands and thousands of fans who spent all day filing through on this date, August 18th, 1948. Died of throat cancer at the age of 53.
Too soon.
Those old photos are just amazing. I mean, to see Yankee Stadium, to see just the unbelievable numbers of people who spent all day just to say one final goodbye to the babe. Velasquez, the ninth place hitter for the Yankees. A big hit in yesterday's doubleheader game 1 win. And Arzardi knocked in a run tonight with a ground ball base hit. Takes a strike. It's 1-2.
There's 4 combinations of massage for deep relief from tension. Our patented dynamic variable lumbar support and Cyclo Infinite Recline technology remain unchanged. Order a next chair with Elemax today. Use code TV and get $50 off plus a free footrest. Hey, change happened, and we've made it a good thing with all new Elemax for next year. Now the future feels better than ever before. Order X chair with Elemax today. Use code TV and get $50 off plus a free footrest.
If you receive regular payments...
What's up, Trev? Hey, Trev, do me a favor. I don't know if you still have my aunt's number. Text her on how she can get her Twitch app back. Dude, thank you, man. It's great. Oh, okay.
Call 877-CASH now or go to JG Wentworth.
I have your number.
If you're eligible for a $5,000 advance.
Oh, shit.
She lost her app.
We're going to make little Braden's 4th grade picture shine like 1,000 stars.
I'm watching Yankees Red Sox. Dude, the Red Sox. What the hell has happened to the Red Sox? Dude, man.
That helps me get rid of all the junk that I've collected over the years.
The Ridge is a huge upgrade. Get your Ridge wallet at Ridge.com.
No, not even close.
There are reports tonight that Congressman Adam Kinzinger of Illinois has been crying again. We're going to try to get to the bottom of that story and bring you the latest on the Adam Kinzinger Trail of Tears. That's for tomorrow. Meanwhile, in Dallas, a lunatic judge and county administrator called
Man, those were great. Throwing Zim on his head. Hey, throwing Zim on his head. Yeah.
Texas ban on mask mandates. What's interesting is this is the same judge who ostentatiously went out of his way several years ago to tell us that Ebola was in danger.
These people are fucking crazy. They have no
effects of this.
They have no science to back any of this stuff up. Oh, Jason Varitek, I love him, man. Dude, I think he should be a manager somewhere, like maybe with the Red Sox.
What effect is this having? It's been a very tough year for restaurants.
I can't go too bad on Cora though, man, because he's a Cane. Hey, isn't Varitek in the Red Sox organization? Isn't he in their front office or something? I thought Jason Varitek was in the front office of the Red Sox.
So Clay Jenkins is the only judge that has made this ruling into Dallas County. So our employees, our customers don't know what.
Have no science for this mask. None.
Come out and said what the ruling is in the
Crazy. It's crazy, man. What's up, Ken? How you doing, brother?
And so we're
Hey, dude.
in Dallas County under one set of rules, and then in Tarrant County, which is Fort Worth, under a different set of rules. It just is totally.
Ken, I thank you for your support the last couple of days. You've been really cool, especially on the
data that show that
the National Football Show and here.
Is there a reason for this? Do you know?
My boy Trev's been with me since day one.
From the standpoint, they're
He's kind of the monitor, by the way, of my social media platforms.
Show your vaccine identification, in which case a restaurant will then have to buy a whole computer system,
Yeah.
which will absolutely kill the small
Great, dude.
restaurant industry, and then go in and find out all your information.
That National Football Show's killing it. Dude, hey, I didn't get a chance to talk the other day, but wasn't Ice Cube great? I mean, his connection at the beginning sucked, but Ice Cube was great. Hey, did you see? I don't know if you were watching it, but people are going, okay, where the hell is Ice Cube? Where is he? Come on. And they don't realize, like I'm boys with it. Dude, he's great. He gave me the little U. I thought that was funny, actually.
Yeah, well, I hope people won't obey. That's my personal hope. Really super quick.
Okay.
Would that vaccine passport apply to people who work at the restaurant as well?
Yeah, I don't know exactly. Yes, I'm sure it will.
That's great.
By putting that into the system,
Hey, I told you, Trev, if you want to do something on a weekend, I'll do it for you. During the week is tough, dude. But if you want to do something on a weekend, like on a for like the preseason, we could do something for like Sunday. Because most of the games are over then.
And one thing leads to another, and we just don't understand the judge's ruling.
Yeah, well, I would say it's the Grand Teton of slopes at this point, for sure.
Right.
Ray Washburn, great to see you tonight. Thank you so much.
Great. All right, thank you, Tucker.
So things seem dark, but it's always darkest before it gets even darker. Just kidding, before the dawn. And the dawn may be coming in California. California is very close, closer than most people understand, to replacing the lunatic who is mismanaging it. The most hopeful story of the year.
No shit. Get this. I heard it's great. Dude, I think this guy, hey, get this. I voted for Gavin Newsom to be replaced. You're not going to believe it. I put Caitlyn Jenner in there. More confidence in. I have more confidence in Caitlyn Jenner than I do in Gavin Newsom. Honestly. The guy's a bum.
Has donated a tremendous amount of property. So a new chapter of the Tunnel to Towers Foundation is where we're going to be building a community.
I can't believe that guy is still the governor.
And it's going to be
He is totally a buffoon.
So the Let Us Do Good Village, right outside of Tampa. And we have enough property to build 110 mortgage-free homes.
I don't think any of us can imagine what their lives are like. So we vision the village as a place of healing.
Yeah, we learned after September 11th.
I think, hey, wasn't Malloy, wasn't he from Stanford?
Situation together. It's just a perfect way for people to.
Wasn't Malloy from Stanford?
Experiences that they have had.
I could have swore he was. I thought he was. Like, dude, I think he may have been even a Stanford Catholic guy.
The Tunnel to Towers Foundation brings people together to help these great heroes, so they know that when they serve, that they're going to be, the families will be taken care of. God forbid they don't come home.
Their kids are going to grow up. Their grandkids are going to know each other. And I think we're going to need a few more of these.
Please go
Oh, that's
to
terrible.
towers.org now and donate just $11 a month. Your contribution will help the Siller family on their mission to serve catastrophically injured service members, Gold Star
The
The
Taliban.
goes a long way, and we thank you for joining us.
I was getting run down. I was coaching.
The-
I coach all
Ken,
the time. I work
The
early in
truth
morning.
doesn't sell.
I needed energy, so I started taking Balance of Nature.
Lies sell.
I could coach better. I could hit the ball harder.
The lie
Make
sells.
an overhand serve, which I have not been able to do
Okay?
in a long time. And
Lies sell.
it's like, wow, you got
Blowing stories out of proportion.
you guys give me that piece of mind. You know, instead of trying to
Russia collusion. Stealing of elections. All that shit's lies. 16 and 20. None of that stuff's true. And because you see it on the news, you think it's real, and it's not.
Start your journey with the best
Like that press conference today by Biden today. Dude, that press conference today was so obnoxious. All he talked about was COVID and a third booster shot. Man. And everybody on the planet's talking. Do you know what's going on the internet right now and the chatter that's going on like around the world? Is that Al Qaeda's taking victory laps. Taliban are taking victory laps. And they're like we look terrible right now. Just not good. Just not good, dude. And did you see that Stephanopoulos interview? It was like he was getting aggravated with the questions. Dude, shut the fuck up. You made this mess here, the exit. You can blame every president back to 41. I'm not saying that. Dude, Harris, I haven't seen her in 10 months. I haven't seen her in 5 months. She never truly went to the border. She says she did, but she didn't. She kind of was near it. Biden's never been to the border. So, dude, one thing that you can't have as a politician or a military person, you ready? You can't have a three-front war. You've got the debt ceiling, the border, and now Afghanistan. You can't win when you have three battles going on at once because you're being attacked by all sides now. Now you're even being attacked by your own party. If I were the Republican Party, I would just step back and not pile on because Americans are piling on. American citizens are going to pile on in 2022. Do you really believe, do you think that the Republicans are not going to have control of the House and Senate? Come on, man.
The country is getting dirtier and more chaotic. The law is being ignored. It's being unevenly applied. Our leaders are out of control. They're not capable of leading. But this is still a democracy.
Dude, is that guy going to even play?
27 days.
What do you mean he's taking the Fifth Amendment?
We'll have the chance to recall its thoroughly incompetent governor, Gavin Newsom. 27 days. That could happen. It would be an earthquake. It would be an inspiration to everybody who wants this country to get better and not worse. And that begins with good leadership. 27 days. We're going to count it down from now. California recall. That's it for us tonight. Our documentary on UFOs tomorrow morning on FoxNation.com. Absolutely worth watching. By the way, we spoke to Laura Logan for an hour on Tucker Carlson today. That's also on FoxNation.com. We will be back 8 p.m. The show that is the sworn enemy of lying, hypocrisy, smugness, and groupthink. Sean Hannity takes over right about now. All right, Ed Tucker, and thank you, and welcome all to Hannity tonight. An unknown number of thousands, perhaps tens of thousands of our fellow Americans, men, women, and children, are trapped behind enemy lines all throughout the country. of Afghanistan in what is one of the biggest foreign policy debacles and disasters in the history of this great republic. Taliban fighters have encircled the Hamid Karzai International Airport. They are viciously beating, whipping, abducting people that are attempting to gain access to that airport. But this morning, some hope. A memo from the State Department reading as follows: alert, U.S. citizens and their spouses and unmarried children should consider traveling to Karzai International Airport. The memo continues, the United States government cannot ensure safe passage to the Hamid Karzai International Airport. For updates, just follow us on Facebook and Twitter and check your spam folder for messages. Okay, break this down. We cannot ensure. Go to the airport, but we can't ensure your safe passage. And by the way, follow us on Facebook and Twitter. If that is not one of the most sickening things I've ever heard. No rescue plan for our fellow Americans, no plan whatsoever. We don't even know how many Americans at this hour.
How you doing, brother? Good. Good. Okay. Are we playing that tonight? Okay, good. Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. Thank you, Chris. Wait, what's wrong? What happened? Fudgy the Whale's a good deal, dude. Actually, he's the first guy I had conversations with at your network. Yeah, he's good people. He seemed good people. That's hilarious. Good. 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 I'm glad to hear you're feeling better. Thank you, brother. Catch up. Yeah, I'm sure you did because you. Good. See, I'm the lion, dude. Here's what I mean by that. When I'm under a tree, you can kick me a few times. But see, I'm not going to bite you. I'm going to eat you. Yeah. Oh. Good evening, Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a great night. Welcome to the happy hour of radio. Love saying that, especially in a time like this. Okay? Especially in a time like this. You know, I last couple days, I've been kind of keeping an eye a little bit on what's going on, obviously, in Afghanistan and my world, my sandbox, as I like to call it, my sports world. And there's a ton of storylines. There's just a ton of stories to take your mind off that stuff. And we need it. You know, I threw this out on my Twitter page at Dan Sileo Show. And I started saying this. If I had to compare President Biden's handling of this Afghanistan debacle on our exit from that country, what NFL head coach would I compare him to? I threw out Rich Kotite. And funny, I threw out the worst coaches of all time because they were the worst game plan coaches of all time. I threw out Rich Kotite, Ray Handley, who used to coach the New York Giants. Trying to think of somebody else. Oh God, what other head coach could you think of in the NFL? Ray Rhodes. Ray wasn't that bad. Oh, Rod Marinelli. I don't think Rod won a game when he was with the Lions. Rod Marinelli, he was 0-16. Got to think of some more. By the way, if you're on my social media platforms, on my Twitch page or on my YouTube page, feel free to add to it because I'm trying to think. And the point I'm making is, you know, when you Chip Kelly, Chip was awful bad, dude, in Philly. Oof. And San Francisco, for that matter. You can always tell a coach who's a bad coach because he doesn't have things planned and he doesn't have contingency plans planned. Every coach knows that you have to modify and you have to adjust all the time when you're a coach. You have to, because nothing's perfect. Generals know that when they go into battle. They understand that. And you're watching a guy who's running our country right now. And I said this earlier too, and I was talking to some of my folks on our social media pregame show. We do that, by the way, each and every single time before we come on the air. We have a pregame for about 15 minutes. We hang out and we talk a little bit. I mean, I don't know about you, but I don't know how you cannot be prepared for things like this, especially when American lives are in question and their safety. The number one objective for a president of the United States is to protect our citizens, especially the ones that are helping us fight terrorism. You know, on the eve of 9/11, as we get closer to that date, the Taliban and everyone else are taking victory laps right now. They're just taking victory laps. And right back where we started. It's kind of sad to watch. And that's why when I get people, they come to me and they go, Sills, what about the Philly? What about the Phillies? What about the Eagles? What about the Yankees? Yankees, Red Sox tonight? I agree, by the way, with you, Trevor. Yankees, Red Sox, not quite the same. And it's not quite the same because both teams are chasing the Rays. They're chasing the Rays. Jesus criminy. What an absolutely here's something that we can make the comparison to what I just said about how Biden has absolutely just looked awful these last couple of days as a leader of our country. Okay? Look at the Rays. I think you guys can appreciate this. The Yankees spent $200 million on payroll. The Red Sox spent $200 million on payroll. You know what the Rays spend? The Rays spend $60 million a year on payroll. And they're constantly a 90-plus win team. They were in the World Series a year ago. They'll probably go back again. They change out people all the time, and they're the Rays. They're financially responsible, and they're productive. Think of that for a minute. The Yankees every year, so over a 5-year span, the Yankees will spend $1 billion in payroll and go nowhere near the Rays. It's remarkable what they do with leadership in Tampa with that baseball team, who, by the way, nobody goes and watches. You know, you see more things on the internet with the Mets and that fraudulent fan base. The Mets, Jesus, criminy. 69, 73, 2000. Congratulations to you. A couple years ago, they were in the series too. Other than that, what is the history for the Mets? They don't have a history. And you would think, it's unraveling again. What did you not think it was going to happen? Of course it unravels. It's the Mets. The point is great management. Great management always shows its head, man. The people who have clarity, the people who know what they're doing, you see it in results. By the way, I am never a person that will ever come on the air at any time, whether he's a president or he's a coach of a football team or he's a manager of a baseball team. I don't care. I never rip method. Sometimes some things may be a little weird. Like, hey, get this. Billy Beane, remember him? The guy, Moneyball, all of that? He was doing things completely different. But they were starting to win. How can you really kill somebody if they're winning? You can't. Well, I don't like this. Is like not the way we do. But that's not the point. Results are the point. We are in a part of our country right now where everybody, if you don't do it a certain way, you don't wear a mask, you don't have everybody. It's like you want everybody to fall in line. This country is not built that way. This country is not built that way for everyone to fall in line. That's communist countries. You're trying to implement a mask mandate in this country, in a country that does not take mandates. There's something wrong with your thinking. You're not seeing the room. And then when you get questioned on it, you get pissed off. That Stephanopoulos interview today was atrocious. Even George Stephanopoulos was asking questions, and he was getting pissed at him. The former Clinton aide. He's trying to give Biden a off-ramp. He wouldn't take it. These people are arrogant, man. And I mean everybody in Washington. I think they know better. And like I said, the people that they represent, you're more qualified than the people sometimes that we send to Washington. Have you seen some of these people's resumes that are senators and representatives that represent our country? Have you seen their resumes? Bernie Sanders has never held a job in his life. I mean, honestly, you got bartenders and reality TV guys. What kind of qualifications? Can you imagine if you showed up at Google and tried to get an executive job? They'd laugh you out of the room with 90% of the resumes that are the people that are in Washington. They'd laugh you out of the room. They would totally laugh you out of the room. There's more people qualified that are on TV than are in Washington when it comes to education. It's mind-numbing. I talk to you. It goes back to leadership. How are we electing these people? How are they getting there? When I hear people talking, it's like a bad coach. You know when you're listening to a bad coach, don't you, or a bad manager? You're like this. Jesus Christ, man. I mean it, man. This thing going on in Afghanistan is like Saigon on steroids. It's like you're watching something here and you're going like this. This is ridiculous leadership here. You know, I'm in a room one time with a coach and I can hear people talking, going, this guy doesn't know what he's doing. This guy doesn't know. Why do you think a guy like Urban Meyer cut Tim Tebow the other day? He had to. Because people were whispering in corners going, how can you keep that guy on the team? He sucks as a tight end. And by the way, that's no slam on Tebow the man. You can say this. He's not good enough to play in the NFL, especially at a tight end. Okay? He was Urban Meyer's boy. Okay, fair. Fair. Okay. But now you had to come to reality, and you had to have the reality talk with the guy and say, you're just not good enough, Tim. Okay, we have to go in our separate ways here. And he did. He did it to save – he cut Tebow to save face because nobody in that locker room would believe him. That's kind of how I'm feeling right now with a lot of Americans, and I mean on both sides of the aisle. I don't think a lot of people believe Joe Biden, at least in this case. At least in this case. By the way, I tweeted something out, and I want to get to this here. I kind of broached it last night. And there was a story, and Outkick put it out. You know, Clay Travis's great website. I love that website, by the way. You know, I go to that website, then I go, believe it or not, for sports to TMZ, because the rest of these places are just too liberal. And to me, they don't give you really great sports stories any longer. They give you kind of like views of how you should. I mean, they're always ripping people for whatever reason. And especially politically nowadays, especially ESPN. It's not the Entertainment Sports Network any longer. So there was a story that Stephen A. Smith came out and said that Tim Tebow, because of white privilege, got the opportunity to play with the Jags. And as I said, I broached this last night, and I did a little bit on my streaming show earlier on the National Football Show. Do you truly believe this is such a slap in the face at every general manager and every coach and every black coach and every black player that's in the league today when a guy like Stephen A. Smith throws racism into something that racism doesn't exist? Tim Tebow didn't get that job because he's a white guy. Tim Tebow got that job plain and simply because he's a friend of Urban Meyer. Do you really think Mike Tomlin says this to the Rooney family? Hey, listen, we need more black guys on our team. I'd really like us to just recruit and to scout black coaches and black players. That's what I want. I'd like to have it around 90-10, or maybe even 80-20. I would like to see my coaching staff and the players on the team be dominant with black people. Do you really believe that Mike Tomlin says that? Do you believe that? Do you believe the Rooneys, who created the Rooney Rule, which meant that every single team, before you hired anybody, had to have a number of minorities, basically affirmative action for the NFL? That family instituted that. You think they do that? My God, it's such a disgrace. But you see, Stephen A. Smith did it for clicks and for idiots like me because I'm mentioning it. He won, I guess. What am I going to ever learn? Okay, the FBI is involved in the NFL. I'll explain next. Stay tuned. I'll tell you next. He is out of jail. He is out of jail. No. What? I didn't hear any of that. Okay, what is it? Yeah. Oh, God. Yeah. Oh, you have the Stephen A. Smith on Tebow? Oh. Let's do that coming back out of here, and I'll save the FBI story for, because that was a good tease anyway. It's the FBI, bottom of the hour. Oh, because here's Ohtani here. What happened? You must be trending because of what you just. Ohtani hit a homer tonight. He just hit another one. Did he hit his 40th? This guy Ohtani may be he hit his 40th home run tonight. He's got 40 home runs. Holy shit. So when did what's his name say this? Okay, because they're playing the Twins tonight. Okay. Yeah. You'll be able to follow me, Chris. I'll give you. Yeah. Well, I want you to play them. You'll hear me, and I'll go, and I'll just say, Chris, do we have that Stephen A. Smith bite too about Shohei Ohtani? Be simple like that. Got you. Ohtani hit his 40th. Hoss, he is a freak of nature, which is so great. Remember something with Babe Ruth, though. Babe Ruth didn't do it at the same time. Well, he actually led the majors in home runs in Boston, too, you know. Actually, I know because the owner of the Red Sox sold him to the Yankees. What they did, he sold him to the Yankees. He was going bankrupt. Huh. I see it. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I love covering stories like Shohei Ohtani hit his 40th home run tonight. This guy is a freak of nature. Wow, is he spectacular. This guy's got a 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and he hits 40 home runs. I've never in my life. You know what? It's Bo Jackson like in a way. I know it's two different sports. I get it. Bo played two different, baseball and football, but this guy's playing two completely different skill sets. Stephen A. Smith a couple months ago said that this guy here cannot be the face of baseball. I want to show you something here. Chris, you got that bite here on Stephen A. Smith from ESPN. That's the most absurd thing I've ever heard. If anything right now in our country, we need more diversity of athletes in our sports. More women coaches, more women broadcasters, more African-American broadcasters. We need more people to get these jobs too in sports, covering these sports, so you won't have idiots like that making comments like that. By the way, he just outran that comment too. Nobody said anything because you know why? He's a liberal. Jack Morris last night tripped over himself and did something that was completely obnoxious when the Angels were playing the Tigers last night. And Jack Morris has been suspended for this comment. Okay. imitating a way a Chinese person talks, you're never going to win that. It's not cool in today's landscape or in any time. You know, it's funny. That stuff was accepted. Remember? Jay Leno used to do, how many Asian jokes did he used to do on The Tonight Show? This guy used to do, he used to do bits on The Tonight Show, ripping Asian people. I mean, his whole entire career on The Tonight Show was all Asian jokes. And nobody said anything about it because I guess it was accepted then. Personally, I never thought it was actually funny. I never thought that stuff was funny. I never thought Jay Leno was funny. I don't think ripping groups of people are funny. Blacks, Asians, Italians. I never think of that. But Jack Morris has been suspended. It shows you the difference in our country right now. And my God almighty, you got something special here. Dude, this guy's better than Babe Ruth. And I'm going to tell you why. Athletes are better today, and he's doing it at the same time. This guy will turn around tomorrow, go out and throw a 3-hitter against the Twins. 40 home runs? I've never in my life, and I am a big-time baseball freak. I can't think of one player in my life that's ever made me lean forward like this guy. Maybe Reggie Jackson. Because you never knew what Reggie was going to do because he was so spectacular. This guy, Ohtani, hit his 40th. Wow. This guy's on pace for 55 home. So wait a minute. Are you going to tell me he's going to win 10 ball games this year and he's going to have 55 home runs? Okay. He's worth $50 million a year then. That's incredible. Hey, don't forget, incredible website, podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds, microphones, everything you need, especially if you're looking to build a home studio like Big Sills has here. 25% off everything. Use the promo code Sileo. S as in Sam, ILEO. Shipping is free. You can spend as much as $5 to $5,000. Podcasterwarehouse.com. Podcasterwarehouse.com. By the way, legendary Ice Cube will be with us in hour number 2. We will talk to the legendary rapper, Raider fan, Big 3 basketball. We'll get to that. FBI is involved in the NFL now. I want to continue a little bit more of this conversation here with Ohtani, too. And double standards in America. We'll do it next. Good job, Chris. Bank. Funny. You're funny. But Chris, why? I just think that you're in an era right now where why put yourself in that room where, get this, don't you want to work Monday? You see, I've learned a lesson. I really have. I want to work on Monday. So guess what? And because America right now is looking for that stuff, it's not because I don't want to talk and say things that are on my mind. You can't. Chris, it's a cancel culture time right now. And if you want to be arrogant about it and go, like I used to be, well, I don't care, I'm never going to change, and I'm going to be that guy, and you're going to go, then guess what? You're going to be climbing up the hill again. How about this? You can also say it this way. You have to be smarter. See, that just wasn't smart. I mean, was it completely really over the top? No. Okay. Was it funny? Not really. But was it necessary? No. Right. Like, you know what? It wasn't a point to be made. It was just something that, watch this. I guarantee you, he probably didn't think 10 seconds about it when he did it because he thought it was kind of funny. And he meant probably nothing about it, about the Asian community. But that's not how that shit lands anymore. Correct. That's right. That's right. COVID has done a lot of harm for Asian Americans. Okay? I mean, it really has. Yeah. I hope he gets hammered on sake and can't throw a fastball. You think? I love sake. Dude, really? Sake is great. Wow. Terrible. I guess so. I mean, I guess so. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a spectacular night. A lot of news, huh? A lot of great storylines. A lot of storylines that also make you think a little bit here. This Jack Morris and Stephen A. Smith conversation that we were just having here. Stephen A. Smith completely racist towards Shohei Ohtani. ESPN does nothing to the guy. Is it because he's a black broadcaster? Has to have something to do with it. White broadcaster gets fired for that. White broadcaster makes a racial connotation on Shohei Ohtani last night, Jack Morris. He gets yanked off the air. So, like, you're telling me if Stephen A. had said that, ESPN would have been okay during Sunday Night Baseball. That would have been okay. You know, I mean, didn't the Cincinnati Reds, didn't that broadcaster get yanked off the air because he said something derogatory about Kansas City and people? Tom Brenneman. I mean, Stephen A. Smith goes completely nuclear on Shohei Ohtani, and he completely calls, you can't have an Asian as the face of baseball. And you're like, what are you talking about? This guy, and tonight he hit his 40th home run. I think he's the greatest thing you should have a promotion that says this. This guy's the greatest baseball player since Ruth. Or maybe you should say, this guy's better than Babe. You should be doing everything in your power. When you've got something special, This is the difference between the NFL and Major League Baseball, because the old farts in baseball. Well, this is how the game should be played. The rules are the rules. How we have, but NFL doesn't care about that crap. Why do you think they have gigantic scoring numbers now? They don't want to see 17-10 games. Baseball purists still want to see 2-1 games. Nobody today that's younger or in their 30s or 40s wants to see a 2-1 game any longer because there's gambling involved. There's fantasy baseball. They want to see 9-8 games. Just like in football, they want to see 41-40 games. They want to be entertained. You don't look at the purity of baseball like you used to. Guy going up because the game isn't like it was before. It's a specialized game now. Major League Baseball, when I was growing up, you couldn't yank a guy like Tom Seaver or Steve Carlton out of a game. Are you kidding me? Walking out to the mound in the 7th inning, and it's a 3-2 game, you think you're taking Seaver or Carlton out, or Bob Gibson or any of them guys, Roger Clemens? You're not taking those guys out. Those guys would never come out of the game. Take a look at some of their numbers with complete games that they pitched. 20s. All those guys were geared and they were conditioned to go 9. Some of them would even go into extra innings. These guys were spectacular, and the game wasn't as specialized as it is today. Now you have starters. Then you have setup guys. Then you have closers. You spend more money today on your bullpen than you do in your starting rotation. Do you know that? This was something that has changed over the last 5 or 6 years. So for Ohtani to be doing what he's doing in specialized baseball time, where he's the best home run hitter right now in the game. He may be the best hitter in the game. And get this, he's on the same team with Mike Trout. I don't want to see Mike Trout play. And people tell me he's the heir apparent to Ken Griffey Jr. Get this, I have no interest in Mike Trout. I want to see Shohei Ohtani. Think of this for a minute. I mean, really, this guy's in a specialized era. He could see 4 different pitchers, 5 different pitchers on any given night. Back in the day when the Bay was playing, you saw maybe 1, at most 2 pitchers in a game, in a 9-inning ball game. Now you see 5, 6, depending on what the situation is. Like I said, I brought up the Rays a couple minutes ago. You know how the Rays are so dominant? The Rays that's why they get rid of guys like Snell, or they get rid of guys that they had in there that were major starters. The starters is not a big deal any longer. It's your bullpen. Bullpens win. You want to ask the Dodgers how they won the World Series last year? They won the World Series not because of Clayton Kershaw. They won the World Series because their bullpen stepped up. When you have a bullpen, Kansas City Royals a couple years ago, they won with timely hitting, great defense, and bullpen. That's how the Rays are built. Yankees think you have to have starting pitching. And you're still going down that route of spending all that money on a guy you'll see, get this, maybe 2 times in 10 days. Right? Clayton Kershaw makes $35 million a year. Do you know how many starts he gives you? You're lucky if he gives you 25 starts. Because he's always hurt, got a bad back. I'm going to spend $30 million of my payroll on a guy I see twice every 10 years. Or excuse me, every 10 days. No way. I'm going the Rays way. That's economically sound. And to spin it full circle back to Shohei, 40 home runs in a specialized league today like baseball. Baseball is the toughest sport. Here, it's the hardest sport in American sports. You got to catch. You got to throw. You got to run. Most importantly, you got to hit. Think of this for a second. I've said this numerous times to you. The greatest player at the plate when it came to average was Ty Cobb. And do you know that he succeeded 37% of the time? His career batting average is 367. So 37% of the time, this guy is considered the greatest player in the game. So you're telling me, think about that, okay? 63% of the time, this guy failed at the plate, and he's considered a living legend. That's how hard that sport is. You couldn't succeed in very many sports at 37% and keep your job. Not in the NFL. Imagine if you had a 37% quarterback rating or completion percentage, or you ran for 37 yards. You're not keeping your gig, kid. In baseball, you're a Hall of Famer. You're Ty Cobb. You're Ty Cobb. I think Ruth was 34. I think he had a 343 average, something like that. 341. 34% of the time, the Babe was successful at the plate. 34% of the time. He's considered the greatest player. Almost 100 wins if you count his postseason as a starting pitcher. Held the World Series record for consecutive scoreless innings for numerous years. I think all the way up until, I want to say, maybe Madison Bumgarner. Incredible what Ruth was. But this guy here is doing something that's amazing. How baseball has not plastered him all over the place. And especially in a time when Asian Americans, because of COVID, are feeling the wrath, and get this, very uncool that they're feeling the wrath for something that they have no tie into. How are you tying that into people from a lab in China? They got nothing to do with it. Guy lives in Southern California. Why are you angry at that? I'm not. I don't get it. And then it almost makes me think that when Stephen A. Smith is saying this stuff, well, you can't have the face of baseball, a Japanese. Why? Why can't you? I want that. Shows me diversity in your sport. I don't really like white guy sports. I'll tell you that. You know those sports that you see in the Olympics, like equestrian and water polo and all those country club sports? Want to know the reason why those things had low ratings? Why are you showing country club sports in elitist sports like that? Equestrian, water polo, volleyball, they were all white guy sports. There were no diversity in those sports at all. I'm like, equestrian? You're kidding me. Come on, man. Track and field, show me that. People all over the world running. Soccer, show me a lot of that. People all over the world playing soccer from every corner of the planet. Show me that. I'm not even a soccer guy, but I love seeing diversity from Costa Rica to Uganda to France to Poland. All of that. Those are great sports. You know, that's one of the things when I said to people, when I got involved in sports, I would never be involved in a sport that was an elitist sport. You know, people always tell you, well, Michael Phelps was the greatest Olympian of all time. I'm like this. You know what, really? So a guy in a swimming pool, how many inner city kids do you think get an opportunity to really join and become part of a club where you could swim? Not a lot of diversity in that sport either. That's why I always went like this to people. I said it flat out. Greatest athlete on the planet during the Olympic times, when I've been watching over the last 15 years, has been Usain Bolt. How would you like to be the fastest man on the planet versus the fastest guy in a swimming pool? I'll take the guy who's the fastest guy on the planet. That means nobody in your cul-de-sac is beating him either. I mean, dude, the guy's a special player. Special. Those are special people. Sky Otani's special. And you got idiot broadcasters. And by the way, the thing with Jack Morris, Jack did something. He did an Asian accent, and he was like saying something. You got to walk him, and he was doing. It was really. How about this? Chris O's right. 20 years ago, nobody would even think twice about it. Today, because we're in cancel culture today, it's just okay. It's just what it is. Chris, do you think we should play that, or do you think we not? Think we should play it? Okay, here's what Jack Morris did in a broadcast last night, Tigers versus the Angels, and they were talking about how to handle Shohei Ohtani. Okay. I mean, on its face value, that sounds terrible. Okay, I get it. Okay, it sounds terrible. But does it sound any more terrible than what Stephen A. Smith said a couple months ago about Shohei Ohtani? Okay, well, let me tell you again the difference between both of those. Jack Morris did something off the top of his head. That thing there was a planned segment on ESPN's First Take. He had that take planned. He thought about that. He talked to producers about it. Because when you have a comment like that and you're on a show like that, that's just not randomly coming out of your mouth. There's segments that are built in. See, how I do radio, I write some things down, and I have a formula. Go from segment to segment. I segment build. I mean, on my radio show or on my stream show, I segment build all the time. I'll take this segment here. What do you think of this? Should this go here or should? It's like putting a puzzle together. When you do a radio show, it's not just some guy, or at least for me. Maybe some of the people that Chris works with, maybe that's different. I don't know. But for me, I kind of have like a puzzle. And I kind of like try to put the puzzle together. You think this fits here versus this? Yeah, I have a show format every night, and I've been doing it for the last 25 years. I always have a show format. And I go, well, should I put it here? Should I put it there? I write notes down all the time. I'm always reading. That segment was talked about with producers. So that take was something that he really thought about when he said, watch this. Let me make it simple for you. He said this, that Asian guy can never be the face of baseball because he's Asian. If I came out and said that, just like this, people would crush me for that. If I tweeted this out, Ohtani can never be the face of baseball because he's Asian. You can systematically dissect everything that Stephen A. Smith said. Okay? You can dissect it down to that. Because that's what he means. There's no other way around it. Keeps his gig, though. Why? Well, because we're tolerant with minority broadcasters and minority folks with that kind of thinking process. Okay? Just saying. Like, you're afraid to fire that guy. I think ESPN. You want to know why the ratings are so down? Because guys like that drive that network into the toilet. Because people tune out. Hey, speaking of tuning in, my good friends at podcasterwarehouse.com. Headphones, earbuds, anything you're looking for, we have it for you here. 25% off of everything that's on the website. Microphones, headphones, as I said. Gamers, this is your one-stop place as well. Promo code is Sileo. S as in Sam, I-L-E-O. Promo code is Sileo. S-I-L-E-O. Shipping is free. Podcasterwarehouse.com. That's podcasterwarehouse.com. I know I've been ignoring the FBI and the NFL. I'll get to it. Ice Cube, also, hour 2. You keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. Well, this is how you do it. You take wild turkey and you put a little bit of, I don't know, maybe a tad bit of tequila in there, and you can put it all in one shot. Yeah, I get it. Hey, dude, let me ask you something, because do you really think that Joe Biden is that incompetent? Pfizer's. Dude, when that guy Milley came out today and said we had no indication in any way whatsoever That's right. I was like, that's your advisor to the president that you didn't see? Dude, you're the elite people on the planet, man. Yeah, but it's got to end soon. It can't linger. By the way, you know what's going to be the big thing? If he pulls out before the 31st and there's Americans left behind, he is a one and done. Mm-mm. I don't even think you'd get Republicans to vote for that. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Don't forget Ice Cube Hour number 2. FBI is now involved in the NFL. Let me ask you something here about this, too, and I'm going to tie this in on why the FBI is involved with the NFL. It's Deshaun Watson. So the FBI is involved with sexual assault cases? Isn't that attorney general in that respected area? Isn't that, law enforcement, the Houston police? Is maybe your state attorney general too? We're looking into sex crimes? What's the FBI doing? Usually the FBI is involved in things like extortion, aren't they? Remember the FBI got involved with that noose? Hate crimes. Remember the whole thing with, the noose hanging at Talladega? They got involved with it, then they realized, well, no, all the doors here at Talladega have that noose. It was to pull the garage door down. It wasn't anything by hanging that thing over there where, nothing was intended there. FBI, they brought 25 people down for that. I thought this would be like the local district attorney's issue in Houston. And for the record, you got a guy that's got 22 cases against him for potential sexual assault cases. I don't know about you, but I want him behind bars, or at least I would want him arrested if we have all these crimes out there. Now that the FBI is involved, I'm wondering, do you know the National Football League has not questioned Deshaun Watson yet? Houston Texans quarterback. They have not interviewed him yet. I didn't know that the FBI got involved in local sexual assault cases. Like I said, isn't that weird? This whole case has been weird. Rusty Hardin, the attorney for Deshaun Watson of the Houston Texans, said we're cooperating with the FBI, we're cooperating with the Houston police, and the district attorney. The NFL is nowhere to be seen in this. By the way, he's not traveling or playing this weekend, but he's still on the roster, and he's getting his $38 million. If you had a case against Deshaun Watson, do you know what Cal McNair in the Houston Texans could do to him? There's a clause in the contract that says conduct detrimental to the league and to a team. You could void that $38 million a year contract if you felt. You could void it. You don't have to pay him. They're paying him. The only reason he showed up to Texans camp is because there's a clause in the CBA, the collective bargaining agreement, that says if you don't show up, you're considered a holdout and you're fined $36,000 to $50,000 a day. It's the only reason he's there. He's not there to play. The McNairs and Nick Sirianni, that's Nick Caserio, the GM of the Texans, has said he's not playing right now. And he most likely is not going to be, he's not taking any first-team snaps. What is going on with this case? It's either the biggest smear campaign or this guy's the biggest sexual predator that the NFL has ever seen. 22 sexual assault cases? It's either one or the other, isn't it? He's either being extorted or he is a sexual predator. I don't think you could be in the middle of this, can you? This is a really weird case. What is it? Sexual predator or extortion? That's why I think Rusty Hardin kind of creeped it out. Well, the FBI is now involved. Doesn't it make sense? That's your local district attorney. That's his job to determine whether or not this guy should be arrested, not the FBI. Is it a hate crime? Is there something we don't? Yeah, there's obviously something we don't know. There's obviously something we don't know. It just doesn't make sense. Maybe he's starting the process of doing these confidentiality agreements. And we're starting to get into that position now. The NFL the FBI wants to make sure it's right. All right. Little bit of news on Tim Tebow. I want to throw something out. And I want to hit on this because I think it's important. We'll reset and keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. Be right back. CC. I never had a problem. No. I kind of didn't. No. See, I cut people out like cancer, guy. Oh. Well, that's awful wide of you. Okay, yeah. No, Jack's going to have that stain now on his record. Too bad. I know. I really don't think it was. Yeah. How about this? Can you make a racist comment and not be a racist? Yeah. Right. Wow, that sounded so not you. I think Biden thought he was going to get a layup interview with George Stephanopoulos, and he didn't get one. George didn't give him one. I actually love to see that in other networks. No, he did. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. Hope all are having a great time tonight, like I am. Why wouldn't I each and every single night? Talking to you. I do what most of you guys do each and every single day. Swear to you, I'm just plain old simple Dan. I am such a reflection of every American out there. I do exactly. Chris is too. This is what I love about my team tonight. Chris is too. My guy, he is America. I am too. You know why? We root for our country to succeed no matter who's in control. We see a wrong, we point it out. We see a right, no matter what the face is, no matter what the political affiliation is, we point it out. Somebody does something great, we point it out. And get this, we both come from different ideologies in a way. Okay? A little bit different. But again, it's about the method. We want to get to the same result. Winning. I'm not a believer in dividing football teams. Think about this you have to understand my background. I spent the majority of my life in a locker room with people that I had to get along with. And I'm going to compare this a little bit to what you see in Washington. Those people in Washington do not get along because they don't want to get along. No other reason. They don't want to get along. They like the chaos. They make money on the chaos. They win political elections on the chaos. On a football team, baseball team, pick your sport, you have to get along with every guy in that room to achieve a goal. You think it's any different in politics? How do you think we win wars? You think when people are storming the beaches at Normandy, you think they were looking over at the guy next to him and questioning whether they were Muslim, Catholic, Buddhist, Republican, Democrat, when American soldiers were laying on the beaches of Utah Beach or Gold or Omaha? You think any of those guys were doing that? That's the greatest generation of all time because they didn't care about that. Today, for some reason, we care about statues and the stupidest things that don't matter or have any relevance to your life or how we live it or how we are supposed to try to succeed. I like inspirational leaders. It leads me to Tebow here. I broached the subject last night and I said it and I want to reiterate it because there's been this crazy backlash on Tebow getting cut and him taking a job away from a potential guy that could have helped the Jaguars. I actually heard broadcasters saying, Tim Tebow, okay, so it was a poor idea by Urban Meyer. No, it wasn't. Do you think this was a bad business deal? The Jaguars had the number one jersey sale of any player in the history of the franchise. You had massive exposure for our football team, and we were talking Jaguar football all the way up until 8-18. We're still talking about it a little bit because there's still some collateral residue left from him being cut yesterday. You've been relevant. Even more so within the fact that you have the number one overall selection in Trevor Lawrence, and you have Urban Meyer that's going to coach. What's the big deal? Is it because Tebow's white, religious, a Republican, a friend of Trump? What is it? A Gator? He was a friend of Urban Meyer's? What was your problem with it? There are so many other rosters that got guys on their rosters that their coaches put them on because of the same thing. They were friends. Why is Tebow any different? Because are you under the impression, honestly, again, I'm going to ask you the question again. Are you under some impression that another coach in the NFL didn't put a guy on a roster because he had an affiliation maybe with an assistant coach or he knew a college coach and he was doing him a favor and put him on his team to see if he could make the team because he took the word of a coach? You don't think there's a buddy system in that? Black and white guys get the opportunity like that. So, it made it seem that Urban Meyer's the only coach that's ever done that. And you did it with a guy who was from Jacksonville, went to Nice High School, played at the Florida Gators. I'm not sure what we're talking about here. Why the hatred? Or is it because of all the things that I mentioned about his past and his affiliations with people, his religion? You know what's funny? Two guys have been expelled from the NFL for kneeling. Tim Tebow and Colin Kaepernick. For two completely different reasons. Silent protest. I don't think Tebow's is a protest. It's more of his faith in God. People had a problem with people showing their faith in God. That makes people uncomfortable sometimes too, People showing their love for Jesus Christ. But people have a problem with that. I know they do. Wars are started because of religion. What do I tell you all the time? Race, religion, and politics. Biggest fire starters of wars this world's ever seen. Those three things start wars. Race, religion, and politics. It's been the root of all evil, actually, if you think about it. It's the way you interpret it. It's the way you interpret all three of those things. So, to Tebow's point, I think this guy, the best of his life is yet to come. That's not a guy that's just going to go like this. Well, my football career is over. My sports career is over. You know, the baseball thing he did with the Mets was kind of successful. He did it, so it is successful. I think this guy could either be a politician, he could be a religious person like Billy Graham. There's nothing wrong with that. We need more of that to be inspirational. Tebow, I'll tell you, man, of all the athletes I've ever covered, if something ever was uncovered about him and his character, I would probably be very disappointed in it. See, when other things are uncovered that people may have said in the past, or there's maybe a character flaw in somebody, I expect it. Because I've learned one thing. We can cancel anybody in America today because nobody's not flawed. I think there's only one guy on the planet, or one guy in the universe that comes with no flaws, and that's Christ himself. America is really judgmental. It's funny when you pull and turn that same judgmental camera on you. You know, when people ask all these crazy questions to athletes or to politicians, I'd like to turn that around and ask you the same question you're asking me. How could you do this? I don't know, Chris Cuomo. How could you be involved in your brother's scandal? And some would say, well, you know, it was his brother. That's not the point. Writing letters to people who are accusing your brother of sexual misconduct, that might be something I want to maybe not be involved in. Now, I'm going to take a pass on that one. I got a job and a family to worry about. What about I get it. I'm not. Hey, that's something I would not be involved in. It's not. You know, the people that ask these questions, are you vaccinated? Why are you? You know, Ice Cube's at the bottom of the hour. I'll tell you one thing that I love about Ice Cube is his convictions. Cube's an awesome dude, man. We've been friends a long time now. And Ice Cube used to say the same thing. Police wanted to have them show when they were in NWA, show their IDs. Ice Cube goes, no, you show me your ID. Why do I have to do that? There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with questioning authority. If you think there's something not cool, to me, that's leadership. It's not arrogance. I don't care what color you are. I don't care what political affiliation you are. You have every right to ask your coach, your teacher, your politicians, your president a question on why you're putting Americans in harm's way or why we're doing this particular drill. I don't have any problem with that. No problem with that at all. We're in a different society today where asking questions is okay. Isn't that how you learn? I always thought that's how you became more progressive. Tebow is a great role model. He's got Tom Brady fame, but he just wasn't Tom Brady on the field. His football career is legendary. Some would say, Sills, he wasn't a very good pro football player. Yeah, but I don't look at it like that. How many NFL football teams did you play on? Don't be so judgmental. Do you have any idea what it takes to play in the league? Do you have any idea what it takes to be a quarterback in the league? Do you have any idea what it takes to win a playoff game in this league? Do you have any idea what it takes to get to a playoff? He's done all that. Won a Heisman. Won national championships. Won the hearts and minds of Gator fans and SEC fans. He's the most famous Southeastern Conference football player in the most famous conference in America. I don't know. Sounds pretty successful to me. And he was a first-round draft choice from the Denver Broncos. Did he play a long time? Nope. But he sure did a lot of things in that short period of time, didn't he? How is that a bad thing? Hey, Trevor just said it. Johnny Manziel as well. You know, the media likes to paint all the flaws of athletes. Same thing with the politicians. We paint the flaws of politicians. Why is that? Because it sells. Johnny Manziel drunk at a party. Ooh, that's clicks. Johnny Manziel at a benefit for disabled kids. We're not going to cover that. That's our media today. Joe Biden helping veterans. Joe Biden debacle, Afghanistan, front and center, baby. War done, building homes for single moms. That's not really a story I want to cover. Okay? That's not really a story. Antonio Brown getting arrested and fighting cops. I want that story all night. That's what we cover now. That's what we cover. Manziel had a great career, won the Heisman Trophy. This guy goes into Alabama and beats Bama. Or maybe, Trevor, I may be wrong on that one. He may have beat him at Franklin, or at, he may have beaten him at A&M. But I know he beat Alabama. It was at Alabama. Okay. You know how many times? You could probably count on one hand that Nick Saban's lost in Alabama. Tebow had a great career. All right. The Dallas Cowboy head coach. I saw him on Hard Knocks last night. Oy. Jesus, man. Really? I got to hit on him. Also, don't forget, bottom of the hour, Ice Cube will join us. You keep it right here on the Dan Sileo Show. Another guy. I don't give a shit about that guy. You see, they're pulling Max Kellerman off of First Take. Let me see who they would put in there with him. There'll be another minority. Who would you put in there with Stephen A. Smith? They pulled Max Kellerman, and they're trying to like paint it. No, they just pulled him off the most popular show they have. It is a scrub show. PTI is the best show they have. No. That's the one with Will Bond and Tony Kornheiser. Let me see. I'm right here, guy. Oh, of course, man. You know what, dude? It's about the marathon, not the sprint. You know what I mean? Oh, yes. Yes. Oh, I did already. I said, listen, man, Chris is one of our guys, so he's good to go. No, yeah, that's all you got to do is take him out for coconut custard cream pie or a coconut pina colada. That'll be good too. Congee cheese, I like it. Congee cheese. Wow. Weird. Dan Sileo, USA Radio Network. I was talking with my friend Krause the other day about getting Ice Cube on. And Ice Cube, he's like, Sills, when do you want me? I said, hey, man, how about today? He goes, okay. Here's a guy that invented Big Three basketball. And it's genius. So we're going to have him in a couple minutes. And we're going to talk some Big Three. We'll talk some NFL. We'll talk what he's doing in his career. Talk about a guy that evolved from being a gangster rapper into being an iconic guy right now. And Trevor on my Twitch page just said right now, Big Three is fun to watch. It is fun to watch. And you know what's really cool about it is that he's given all these ex-NBA guys an opportunity to expand their brand even after their NBA playing days. That's a guy that's an innovator. I love innovators. I love people who think out of the box like that. I love people who are not afraid. I love like unique dudes that do things like that. It's really great. It really is. So, yeah. So we're going to talk to Ice Cube here in a couple minutes. I want to throw this out to you about the Dallas Cowboys. So they're on Hard Knocks. I don't know if you saw it last night. But make no mistake about it. The head football coach, in my opinion, is so over his skis being the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys. I'm sorry. I'm gonna come clean. I don't think Mike McCarthy's the right guy for the job. I didn't know Mike McCarthy was a screamer. I had never heard that he was. Last night he was dropping F-bombs, swearing like he was really the head coach of that team. He's not the head coach of that team. The head coach of that team is the owner of that team. What he was basically doing last night was playing to the cameras. Everything that Marty Callner always told me that he hated the most were people playing for the cameras for Hard Knocks. He is the worst I've ever seen on Hard Knocks, is how he handles it. However, I will say one thing about the Dallas Cowboys this year, and I think it's important for the Cowboys. Maybe this translates into some wins this year for them. I'm watching that Hard Knocks last night, and it's the first time I went like this. Outside of what I just said about McCarthy, they're pretty boring. That's a good thing. The loudest guy in the room is traditionally the weakest guy in the room. They're kind of boring. Do you ever hear any noise out of those Patriots when it came to the Brady Belichick era? Never really heard any noise. Oh, media made stuff. Stupid Spygate and Deflategate. Football's being deflated like it really had any impact on whether or not the Patriots won or not. Come on, man. They won Super Bowls after that stupid thing. Same thing with Spygate. Had nothing to do with it. Do you ever hear any? How about this? The Buccaneers are the defending champions. Defending champions. Do you really hear any noise except Brady having fun? Bruce Arians talking about how everybody came back, including his coordinators. Not really a lot of noise. You don't really hear a lot of noise at all the winning places, man. You hear any noise in Tennessee? Nothing. I love that Tennessee team, too. A.J. Brown and Julio Jones are your wideouts. You talk about two physical wideouts, and you got Derrick Henry, and you got Mike Vrabel as the coach. I'll tell you what, you got one of the top 5 offensive lines in the NFL. That Tennessee team is going to run people into the ground. But to the Cowboys, it's the first, really the only guy that makes noise is the owner. He's really the only guy that makes noise. Am I right? But that's okay. Let Jerry make the noise. As long as the players aren't, it might result in the winning. Might give him an opportunity here. All right. We are going to talk to our friend Ice Cube, the legendary rapper. He's next. To keep him here right on the Dan Sileo Show. Hey, did you see how I did that too with my friend Krause to cover that thing there? But that's okay. I covered it. I'll be right back. Right back. Don't go away. Flower. Like a pair of shoes. I like it. Gotcha, brother. Oh, yeah. So Larry David and Alan Dershowitz had an altercation at a grocery store? Me too. Wow. I won't lie to you. By the way, thank you, Ice Cube, for coming on. I would have paid money to be at this grocery store to see Larry David and Alan Dershowitz in an argument in a grocery store right around like the peas section. Can you imagine these two guys barking? So wait a minute. Let me get this right. Larry David's probably reaching for toilet paper or he's reaching for peas or something. And there comes Dershowitz. And David, just Larry David, he probably starts barking at him. Trump guy, huh? And this thing probably facilitated. And I would, you wish to God you had cameras on this thing. This thing would have been the funniest thing you could possibly have ever taped. Curb Your Enthusiasm? Holy criminy. I would have paid money to see that. Curb Your Attitude. This thing would have been, oh my God. I hope they have like surveillance cameras for this thing. I would love to see this thing. By the way, I got to hit on this too. So Max Kellerman has been taken off. First Take, ESPN's big show. Well, it's their big money show. It's the show that they put a lot of money behind. But it's completely gone down since Skip Bayless has left it. And they took Kellerman off it, and they've left Stephen A. Smith on it. You know, he's the highest paid employee at ESPN. He makes $10.5 million a year. And I've said this before to people. His radio career was horrible. Every single show he's ever done has been canceled. But yet ESPN continues to give him opportunities like Bomani Jones. You keep getting, you see, I'll tell you something, and there's no doubt what they want on that network. Okay? Jamel Hill, I know Jamel from back in our Orlando days. She said this. They want black faces on that network. They don't want black attitudes on that network. And I'm talking about real journalists. Like, she has very strong opinions. They kicked her off because of those strong opinions. Stephen A. just says things and does things to get a reaction. He doesn't really give you a show. He just throws things out there. That's not a show. And get this, he hides behind his race. And ESPN hides behind it too. I bring up the point. Jack Morris gets pulled off the air for a comment. Should he been? Probably suspended. In today's landscape, 20 years ago, no. Today, yeah. Stephen A. Smith is a complete racist towards Shohei Ohtani. And they basically give him a raise. That thing had no legs to it. Zero. Dude, you fire people in Congress for stuff like that. You demand resignations. When you say this, do you know what Stephen A. did? By the way, Max Kellerman's not the problem on that show. He's not very good. He never was. But Kellerman, and ESPN's not firing. They're just looking for something else. And they probably want to go more woke with the show. But that's not going to create ratings. Great content creates ratings. Great presentation creates ratings. Compelling. And how I started my show out with Chris and I a little bit had different ideologies politically. But you know what we all do? He and I we ping pong things back and forth, and it's great because you know why? We get to a cool place, and you know what we do? We go eat a cheeseburger later on, and it doesn't matter. White Castles, I love that. Oh my God, White Castle and Thunderbird, man, never a good mix. I thought I was Chris, I thought I was making wine before in my shower. I'll leave the image to that. No, those were White Castles with extra cheese. Me too, man. I respect the hell out of you, and you know what? I respect the hell out of people's opinions that want to throw that opinion out there. Yeah, no, man. I think we've gotten away from that a little bit here. Yeah, if you're in the Stephen A. Smith business, you're in a losing proposition, and you're just doing it for the visuals. That's a damn shame. That show used to be great with Skip and with Stephen A. All right, we shall reset. So much going on in the National Football League. You keep it here on the Dan Sileo Show. See? Yeah, had to go there, man. Had to go there. I love you, bro. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Thank you, dude. Which one did you do? Amy Trask. Yeah. All right, dude. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.